Hello, hello. My name's Peter, and today I'm going to demonstrate a portrait tiling program. So, if you have a portrait, a photograph that you want to modify with tiles, then my program will do it. So, in front of you, there's a whole stack of photographs, and as I zoom out, you can see that it forms a portrait of someone. That someone was me many years ago. It's an old security photograph. Anyway, I can make it a little bit smaller, so save you walking away. Let's come down here. Oops, it's a bit too small there, but the control I have for the size is very temperamental. That's about the best I can do. So that's what you see far away, although all the little photographs would all merge together in their correct color schemes. But when you zoom in, then you see all this other stuff. Now, the thing to notice about this is how crisp the photographs are. If you, there's two ways of doing this. There's my way, and then there's the way that I think other people or organisations have done it. I think what they do, they use a layer approach. So they have a whole stack of photographs. They put them out in some sort of order, and then they get a another layer of which has the overall portrait on it. They make that semi-transparent so that you can see through to the photographs underneath. So I think they do it somehow like that. I'm not quite sure, to be honest. The way that I did it was to determine the color signature of each of the little squares. So all the little photographs that make up the image are I scan them. Well, my computer program scans them, and it looks at each pixel in turn, and it gets the signature in the form of three numbers, three integer numbers. The numbers vary from 0 to 255. So each color, red, green, and blue, has 256 possible intensities. And so altogether, the three colors, red, blue, and green, with their different intensities, allow you to have 16 million different colors. All right, so I don't have that many photographs on my computer. I don't have that many photographs with nice, interesting faces. So I went online and I downloaded some photographs of faces from the internet. So that's why some of these images have faces that have come from the internet. Right, I'll show you some others. Let me show you. Now this is another one from way back when. It's myself and my former wife, Glynis, um, and again you can see how sharp the photographs are. And I can zoom out. Oops. So if you stand back, you'll see that is a portrait. We were at a Christmas party. That would have been 1973, so quite a while ago. I'll show you some others. Now this one is the Joker. You remember the films of the Joker, and there was a promotion in a magazine showed an image of the Joker, and I made a painting of the Joker, and then I saw that as a useful source for my little project. So I've tiled the painting with photographs. So there it is. So I can zoom in again, nice crisp photographs. Oh gosh, that one there, look. That one, that one there. That's me on the right hand side. That's Porthcurno. That would have been in the 1964. That was. I was a trainee radio technician at the time. Porthcurno is where the radio, not the radio, the transatlantic cables uh, come up out of the sea into England, and it's on Porthcurno Beach because it has a special sort of seashell type of structure that was very suitable. So they had a training school there, and I was for a short time a trainee technician down there. So there I am. All right. So um, anything else of interest? Okay, I'll show you some others. All right. So this one, there's someone you should know. That's my nose there, by the way. This is my son Jamie. Um, that's my son Ethan with Jamie's former wife. That's Srinda and my daughter and Ethan. There's Ethan as Batman. Oh no, Spider-Man. Sorry, Spider-Man. Um, all right. So and there's my dog. There's Missy chilling out. This when she was nice and slim. Now she's rather fat. What have we got over here? All right. So anyway, so nice, slim, nice, sharp photographs. A variety of them. And if I reduce it a little bit, oops, you can see it quite clearly there, I guess, but make it a bit bigger. Sorry, it's really difficult to get this the right size. Okay, so that's myself and Surinder. That's a fairly recent one, I guess. Um, now I'll just stop there. All right, this one here. Some interesting photographs there. That's Surinder there, and that's Surinder. That's Surinder's daughter. All right, so what is this? Well, it's a nude. I was doing an art course at the local library for a while, and I was I copied a nude from a art book, and I wasn't confident enough to do the head. So the head is there in outline. It's just like a pencil outline. You won't see it very clearly, but I wasn't too confident about doing it justice, so I didn't do it. But anyway, if I minimise it a little bit, you might be able to see better. Ooh. So if you stand back from that, you should be able to get a view of what it was all about. So that again, that was a photograph of a painting that I did, and then there's another one here somewhere. Just hang on. Okay, so this is another nude that I painted from an art book on how to do that actually. Um, and in fact, on this one, you can actually see the image. This is interesting. This is look this is my painting. This thing here. Um, so I copied that from a magazine, but it's interesting because in making up this image, the computer program has chosen to use actual images of the original photograph in the tiled image. Now that's interesting to me because it's that process is what they call it, self similarity. It's self similar at different scales. So the overall painting there, part of the painting has been tiled with small versions of the whole total image. Now that's what happens with is a branch of science called chaos theory. And chaos theory, one part of chaos theory is the Mandelbrot set, and you can get some very beautiful images from the Mandelbrot set, but basically it's to do with fractals, and it shows you. I've got some images of. I might show you some of those actually. There's. I'll show it to you. A picture's worth 1,000 words, isn't it? Right. Okay. So I said I'd show you some Mandelbrot images. So these are some images that come from another of my programs. This is the Mandelbrot set, or images from it. So just show you one big one like that. Now, in this image here, you can see that the overall image features self-similarity, meaning that that portion there, for example, there is a smaller version of this portion here, isn't it? And that portion there is a smaller portion of this. And so all these bits that go around this spiral here are just getting smaller and smaller, but they are replicas of the bigger image. And of course, this whole thing is part of a bigger image. So that's what I meant by self-similarity. So in the program that I used to produce this, you can actually zoom in. So that's what I've done several times. I can take that area, then I can zoom in there, and then I can zoom in again and again and then again. It makes it bigger and bigger, and you can see more and more detail. But the overall thing is how self-similar the whole image is, which is very interesting. I find it interesting anyway. So here's some other ones. There's another one there. See how that's similar to this over here, down here, down here. This one here. Isn't that lovely? It's rather like a necklace or something like that, isn't it? But that, it looks very complicated, isn't it? But it's come from a very simple relationship, an equation. It's to do with complex numbers. And you put all possible complex numbers through a certain process, and it's a iterative process. It starts out with a certain value, and then you put it through this process, and it gets a new value, and you keep on going. You see, and the question is, what happens? Does it stay finite, or does it go off to infinity? And so the Mandelbrot set is all those complex numbers that remain finite. They don't go off to infinity. And the borderline between those two sets of numbers, the numbers that go off to infinity and those that don't, the borderline is this image. This image, complicated as it looks, is a single line, as it were, separating two regions. That the region where it stays finite and the region where it goes off to infinity. So it's quite fascinating, really. Anyway, that's that. Here's a few more images from the Mandelbrot set. Again, all of these have come from my program that generates these. So I'm rather I'm rather amazed that he can get all these images. What's going on there? Oh, there it is. Let's get rid of that one. They're quite shocking to me, to be honest, that such beautiful images come about from a simple equation. Unbelievable. Anyway, let me stop there. All right, so I'll just return to the tiling program, and this is another image that goes back quite a few years. That's an old version of me, and this is Elaine, a girl I met on holiday. I was about 16, I think, 16, 17. She taught me how to dance, how to waltz. So I was really pleased. She was a great teacher. She lives quite a way away, so I didn't sort of get to know her really well after that, but she was a great person. Anyway, these are all photographs that I've used to tile that image. I'll just go smaller. Yeah. So that's about the size you want if you want to stand back and look at it and see what's going on. All right. Well, I think I've. It's. Oh no. What I can do, I was going to say I'll finish there, but I'll show you how it actually works. Okay, I'll quickly show you how the program works. This is the design environment for the software. So I'll show you the program there. That's all of this. So if you're into programming, then that will be meaningful to you. But if not, you can just get some feel for what's involved in doing this. All right, so there's the software. Now, if I go up to debug, I can start without debugging, and it's produced a window. So this is the program actually working. First thing I have to do is load the tiles. So what I've done, I've taken all my photographs and made small versions of them, the middle square of each photograph. I made a small version of it, and then I've determined the color signature for it, and all that's been stored on the disk. So I have to load that into my app now in order for it to work. So I'll do that, and now I want to start the program. So I'll choose a photograph, and let's go to my photos. There's a few photos there. Let's okay. So I've got a problem with it. Some of these photographs, for some reason or other, when I downloaded them from my account, what happens is because I've got Windows, I've got the cloud option in Windows, and so all my stuff goes up into the cloud. And when it comes down, it does some funny tricks sometimes. So one of the things it does is it tends to rotate the photograph sometimes. So for some reason it rotates them, even though I try to rotate it out of the orientation that it gives me, and then I go through my process in my tiling program. It still manages to muck it up. So I'm a bit wary about selecting one of these photographs, but let's see what happens with this one here. There we go. You see, it turns it round for some reason. I don't know why that is. Anyway, I'll get rid of that. I'll get another one. Let's try this one. Damn it. There we go. Okay, this is me and my daughter some years ago. My daughter's 46, I think she is now. So it's quite a long time ago. Anyway, first of all, I've loaded the tile. So now I need to select a portion of the photograph. So I'm going to go into portrait mode rather than that'll be landscape mode. So this is portrait mode. So I'm going to select a portion of the photograph, that bit there, and I'll click on there, and that should go over there. Did it? I think it has. All right, so that's the portion. This is what's going to get changed. So I'll go to Start, and I'll tile with coloured squares. Now, when I did this originally, I just did it with tiling with tricolour squares. But then I added the feature with pictures, and I haven't bothered to change this. So when I click on this, it's going to do whichever one is being nominated here. So I'll click on there, and it's doing it now. So all those photographs, all the whole photograph has been tiled with lots of little photographs. Now, if I go back, to the start, I can save the photo up here, and I'll save it into my tiled photos, and I'll put a name there. I've already got one of Heidi and me, so I'll call it me and Heidi. And I have the option down here of saving it as a .bmp or a JPG. This one has the highest resolution, so I'll leave it as it is, and I'll save that. I'll save it. So now that's gone to the disk, and I can now where is it? My tiled photographs. I can yeah, I mean, hide this one here. So there it is. So nice and sharp, the photographs. All right, I think that's it really. So I'll bid you good day. Thank you. Bye.